everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a really beautiful day today. In this video, I'm going to be sharing some tips on how to spend more mindfully and just tips on saving money and managing your finances. So I'm going to be sharing tips on how to spend money with more confidence and making sure you're spending on the right things and it's actually going to be benefiting your life, and just to have a healthy relationship with money and managing your impulses as well. So the first thing you're going to do is analyze. So just look back at your monthly spendings and think about what was a necessity. And these are all things like food, rent, bills, and all the things that you need to survive, travel, your car, whatever it is. And if you're looking at a bank statement, you can just highlight those in one color, just so you know that those are non-negotiables. You're not going to be able to save money in those areas. You need those to live. And then get a different color and look at the things like social events, dinners, takeaway, and all your entertainment and things that are additional to your life. So if for whatever reason you don't have access to your previous month's spending, I recommend you start to do this for the next month. Don't think about it too much, just spend like you normally would and really try to track where all of your money is going. So I always recommend using card for this reason, just because it simply makes it so much easier. You have your bank statement, you can see the date, amount, and the place that you spent your money, so it's a bit easier to kind of track it. And then once you have a good understanding, you can start to think about some goals. However, if you do like to use cash, then I'd recommend using Google Sheets, because you would have access to it on your phone or your laptop rather than a notebook, which you might often forget in some places. Or you can just keep your receipts and go through them every week. That can seem like a lot, but if you have the time, then by all means. I just think if an easier option exists, I'd often choose that. Another thing I wanted to say is that cash can actually be quite beneficial, because we live in a world where we just simply use our phones and tap here and there. We use our watches to pay things, and we can kind of start to disconnect from the fact that that's actually money leaving our account, because we just see it as numbers. I personally still feel the same when I see it go out of my bank account. It's still my money going out to me, because I've been quite aware of it from the beginning. But if this is something that you relate to and you might feel a bit detached to your money, then I'd recommend just withdrawing money out of your account every week according to your budget, which you'd be able to set once you've analyzed all your spendings. And once you have that amount, disconnect Apple Pay from your phone and make your credit card or debit card quite hard to reach when it's in your bag. I think it's always good to have it for an emergency, but just put it at the bottom of your bag or in a separate wallet where you just can't easily just pull it out and tap. And this way it's really good as well, because you're spending money that you actually have instead of just relying on credit cards, which is essentially borrowed money. So then you can also start to become more aware of how easy it is to let go of money when it comes from your card compared to using cash. Before we carry on, I want you to remember that this is something that you need to decide for yourself. Just because people around you are saving or it's something that's talked about doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the same for you. Some people might not want to save just to have savings. Some people might want to invest. Some people might want to enjoy that money in this moment. And as long as you're looking after yourself and as long as you do have something to keep you secure in this moment, then you make that decision to do what you want. Everyone earns different amounts, everyone has different needs, everyone has different responsibilities. So once you analyze where your money is going, you can start to become a bit more aware of where you might not need to spend it if you want to save it. Or you can continue living the way that you are if you're content with that. So play around with it and find what works for you. So the second thing to do is to set some goals. Now that we've kind of analyzed where our money is going, and if we're happy with that, you can kind of continue staying on that path. But if you want to change a few things and maybe save some more, or maybe indulge some more in your life and do some more things, then you can start to set goals accordingly. But something I wanted to mention is that it's very important to know how much control you have over your money, because it's not going to be as simple as I want to save £100 this week and it's automatically just going to be saved. You have to be aware of how impulsive you are. You have to be aware of how much discipline you have with spending your money and what corners you can cut that are going to be beneficial to you as well. Remember to make it fun. Sometimes saving can be a negative thing because you're kind of depriving yourself of living the way that you want to. But if you turn it into a game and you have competition with your friends to see how much money you can save every week or something, it's just a reward to yourself. And this is just preparing yourself for your future. If other responsibilities come into your life, let's say you get a car where you have to pay insurance every month, are you able to say no to some entertainment? Are you able to, swap your nice apartment for a little bit of a smaller apartment? Are you able to control your impulses when it comes to buying things that you might not need? So playing around with your money and giving yourself that control over it is good practice for any situation. Step 3 is to be mindful. Now, there's so many ways you can be mindful with your money, and the biggest thing is to just start to be aware of your impulses. Like I've mentioned before, it's important to know where your money is going. I've made another video on this where I talk about minimal and meaningful living. In my other video, I talk about how I haven't really bought clothes for 2 years. I haven't really bought anything for 2 years, and it's just teaching me that I don't need a lot of the things that I thought I needed. So a few tips on being mindful with how you spend your money is to just simply give yourself time to think about a product or something that you might want, and then go back to it in a few days or a few weeks. Most of the time, you probably forget about the thing that you really wanted yesterday. But if you do keep thinking about it, then it is something that you might need in your life. And that way you know that you're buying something that isn't going to go to waste. You're buying something that is actually going to benefit your life. Another thing is to just check out any discount codes or coupon codes, and then you plan your meals according to what was cheap at the supermarket. And cooking at home is another game changer. We cook at home during the week, and on the weekends we go all out and we enjoy the food that we have as well. So it's about having that balance and just being aware of where your money is going and where you want to spend it. I love eating and I want my money to go on good food, so I'm happy to do that, but I also don't want to do that every single day. DIYs is another way that you can be more mindful with how you spend your money. It's a good way to kind of connect with what you're making. For example, artwork and furniture, you can kind of DIY a lot of things these days, and there's so many videos on YouTube on how to do that. It's a really fun way to just connect with everything in your home and make sure everything in your home also connects with you. Another thing that you can try doing, if you are living in a building where there's loads of apartments, you can even share things with your neighbors. It's a good way to get to know your neighbors as well, and you don't have to spend a crazy amount of money on things that you're probably only going to use once a month if you can share it with someone. So the next thing is to practically change where your money is going. So now that we know how to be mindful and intentional with how we spend our money moving forward, we're going to talk about the things that we might not be aware that we're actually spending so much money on because we disconnect from it. And a big one is food. Food, snacks, coffees, teas, whatever you drink when you're out and about, whether it costs you a couple of pounds here and there, it all adds up. And a really good way to just kind of be aware of that is to start to add up all the snacks that you've had during the week, whether it was a coffee, a croissant, or some tea or a smoothie. Add them all up. In most cases, you'll be quite shocked with how much you end up spending on just ordering something here and there. And the best way to resolve this is to do it all at home. Make yourself some granola bars or some date balls and just have them in your bag. So whenever you're feeling peckish, instead of going into a shop and spending £15 on a few snacks that you didn't really need, you can just reach into your bag and have a date ball that costs you probably 50p. And you can also do the same with teas and coffees. When you wake up, just put it in a reusable mug and take that to work or wherever you're going. A few other random things that you can do are cancel some subscriptions that you no longer want to be in. I can tell you that I don't think I've ever signed up to a subscription because I know myself and I'm not going to be committed to something, so I never signed up to them in the first place, therefore I don't have them. But if you have any that you feel like you've just signed up because they were offering a really good deal or it's no longer giving you what you wanted from it, just cancel it and just do that right now. It's the biggest thing that can take out money from our account. But really sit with yourself and be honest with yourself. If you're not going to use those things, it's better in your savings than it is. So know what's important to you. If that membership is important to you, by all means, continue paying and be a part of that. Okay, so my last tip is to put the money aside. And this is one of my favorite tips because I find that you not only just become so aware of where you might be wasting your money, but you also start to save that as well. So let's say, for example, you wanted to buy something off Amazon and it cost you £10. You knew you didn't really need it, but it's so easy to just buy with one click on Amazon that you kind of just did it anyway. Go to your bank account and transfer that same amount of money into your savings account. It's still leaving your account, which is what you're okay with, but it's going to be benefiting your future rather than feeding your impulse at that time. As adults, we do need to give ourselves the opportunity to kind of heal from any fear that we have with money. I know that it can be associated with a lot of power, and that can be a scary thing. It's scary giving your money to other people. It's scary having a lot of money and not knowing how you're going to change from that, and it's scary not having a lot of money because we do need it. On a deeper level, money is just a form of energy exchange, and you simply give something to get something back. So make sure you're being intentional with that. Make sure whatever you're allowing into your space is actually going to be benefiting you, is actually going to be good for you. And sometimes when we see money in a negative light, it closes the doors to allow us to have it abundantly. I see money as a tool that simply gives me everything I need to survive, and so I can continue to give back to the world. Gratitude is another thing to be aware of. I know that it's hard to be in difficult situations, but once you open your heart to gratitude, to be grateful for whatever you do have in this moment, you're allowing more of that to come. And I know so many people are struggling financially right now, and my heart truly goes out to all of you, and I really hope that this video is somewhat helpful and helps you kind of feel a bit more aligned with your purpose and aligned with how you're spending your money and how you can start to connect with these things a little bit more. But also be grateful to have access to knowledge about how to do better with your money. Be grateful for every small thing that you do have, because I truly believe once you start to be grateful for a few things, you're just building yourself to be grateful for so many more things, which means you're just allowing more good things to come into your life. And on that note, I'm so thankful for you to be here, and if you ever have any other suggestions of videos that you want me to do, leave a comment down below. You can also message me on Instagram. I'd really love to connect with all of you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye.